Hello, I hope you're all doing well. My name is Meta, and I like Pokemon. Quite the shocker, I know. But specifically, I'm a fan of the older generations. Now, you know that's not what I meant by that. Thank you. So, as a fan of these older generations, I often find myself replaying the older entries within the series every now and then. Yet, as much as I enjoy the vanilla experiences, it's always fun to explore the more unique and creative sides that ROM hacks have to offer. One hack that recently caught my eye is called Starbeast Asteroid version by Valor. Now, a quick little note before I start: the hack Starbeast Meteor version is an earlier version of Asteroid versions, not an alternative version of the same hack like a typical Pokemon game would do. With that side note gone, let's get back to the hack itself. Starbeast is a ROM hack of Pokemon Red that provides a new experience to the familiar region of Kanto by adding quality of life changes, creating all new characters, updating and replacing existing sprite work, as well as implementing both the Dark and Steel types into the mix. However, the biggest and most notable addition is the complete replacement of all 150 Pokemon into all new Starbeast. Starbeast for short. Now, I absolutely adore most, if not all, the Starbeasts and their designs, but I may be a bit partial on the end because I'm a big fan of the aesthetic of the first two generations, both in artwork and sprite work, and I love seeing when people emulate the style with either Pokemon from later generations or with their own creations. With Starbeast, you can obviously tell that there is a great amount of care and effort put into each and every one of these designs, and it shows right away with the starters. First off, there's Quincy, the grass starter. Honestly, Quincy is probably my favorite of the trio. I love his little hands and feet from its pear-shaped body. It's just a bit like Oddish, but with hands, or even like a Kirby character, honestly. He's also got that little side-eyed look with a smile, and it's just simply adorable. For the colors he has, I really love the red leaves complementing the green body. It's overall just a great design for a starter, cute and simple. Next up, there's Jelly, the water starter. For my initial playthrough, I picked Jelly, mostly because I usually go with Squirtle when I replay Gen 1, but also because I didn't appreciate Quincy's sheer greatness until I saw my rival using him. Still, Jelly is cute, and I like how they made its tentacles form a little hairdo up top, as well as curving outward for its feet. Also, the single eye accompanied by its silly little smile is just adorable, and the colors for Jelly are also great. I love the tentacles being both red and blue, rather than just one color, making it feel a bit more whimsical. And lastly, there's Embrain, the fire starter. Unfortunately, I didn't fall in love with Embrain as much as the other two, but I do think it's still cute nonetheless. I like the teardrop shape they gave it and the small gem on its head. Yes, it is a gemstone on its head. Also, I don't believe the flame behind it is a tail, especially knowing what the evolutions look like, but I'm still not 100% sure. Also, the look of excitement on its face as it sees the flames it conjured above its head is a cute touch. For the colors, it makes sense to primarily match the colors of fire itself, and I just love the rosy cheeks they gave it. I would love to show and talk about more of the Starbeasts and their designs, but I believe hacks that add their own custom creatures should be experienced fully blind, because playing it blind preserves the feeling of wonder and fun of discovering all the new things that the hack provides. Also, the creator highly recommends the hack be played blind, and I'm not going to go against their wishes, so you just have to trust me that all the Starbeasts have cool and interesting looking designs. And you're always entitled to have your opinion and your favorites at the end of the day. Now, despite all the new Starbeasts, the hack does still take place in Kanto, yet there are a couple of changes to the familiar region that allows it to feel just a bit different from the original. First, there are new areas that the hack adds for some extra exploration, as well as containing Starbeasts that are typically hard to find in the normal routes, but you only get one chance to grab them. I happen to learn the hard way. Next, while the hack does follow Pokemon Red and Blue's original story beats, it adds a couple of its own unique scenarios that help the hack have its own identity while still borrowing the current setting. Lastly, the hack introduces its own cast, with a few characters from Red and Blue still scattered in. All the new characters are interesting in their own right, with some I enjoyed more than others, my personal favorite being the rival. The rival in Starbeast has a character arc that you witness through each encounter with them, finding out their motives and desires for wanting to become a Starbeast master, all the while proving to be quite the challenge for each battle against them. I often found myself being surprised by their Starbeast and their level each time I fought against them, mostly in the later fights though. But still, they proved to be no joke and made me play cautiously at times. To me, this is a bit refreshing, considering that some of the newer games love to make the rivals feel more like a slightly inconvenient roadblock than actual rival at all, and that they have little to no personality while being easily defeated. Now, talking about the rival being a challenge does lead me into our next point of interest of the hack, the difficulty itself. In terms of difficulty, Starbeast feels like Pokemon Red's original difficulty, with a bit of spice added on top of it. While most of the game can be casually tackled, the latter half of the game may require you to grind out levels. Also, the lack of a built-in XP share. Gym leaders, a rival, and even a couple of special fights scattered throughout the hack are gonna challenge your wit, and if you're raising your Starbeast correctly. As someone who doesn't mind grinding out levels on well Pokemon, and as someone who usually overlevels in RPGs, I still found a decent challenge through Starbeast, and at times my Starbeast even being underleveled. This doesn't mean that it dials the difficulty up to 100 like a Kaizo hack would make it, it just means you're gonna have a challenge while playing through it casually. Thankfully, for those who might be having issues, the hack does provide a couple of methods that can make it a bit easier. First off, all the in-game trades actually grant you competent Starbeasts this time around, some of them even being the starters themselves. These traded Starbeasts can be great members of any team, mostly because they utilize the traded XP boost, allowing them to level up faster than normal. Next, there's the rare Starbeasts within the new areas I mentioned earlier, which can also be really great additions to any team. And lastly, there is a text document that comes with the hack upon downloading it. Now this document provides information on all Starbeasts, what moves they learn, their base stats, their learnable TM moves, when and how they evolve, and their typing itself. I do only recommend looking at this document if you truly find yourself completely confused or lost though. Lastly, I would also like to elaborate on the quality of life additions and some small gripes I had while playing this hack. Thankfully, there is a run button, and surfing speed was increased. This makes traversing through Kanto much quicker, and as much as I love Gen 1 2, sometimes an extra boost in speed goes a long way. The hack also buffs all the HM moves to finally be decent in battle. One example being that Flash is now an electric type move that deals damage, and it still lowers accuracy. I know a lot of ROM hacks tend to do this, and it's kind of a staple at this point from what I've seen, but it's still nice to have these moves be an actual option on your main team rather than be taught to the poor soul that only gets to see the outside of a PC box when you come across a new dungeon. Oh, and there's an XP bar. On to my complaints, which aren't anything major. I'd first like to address, for me at least, some of the Starbeasts felt a bit underwhelming. I found that some Starbeasts were given quite a limited move pool, while on the other hand, others learned plenty of moves. Unfortunately, these moves didn't really fit their stat spread. Most of these cases can be a result of the hack existing in a pre-special physical split generation and some Gen 1 magic. In case you're not aware of how the pre-special physical split world of Pokemon worked, allow me to give you a quick rundown. In generations 1 through 3, an attacking move damage type was determined by the type of the move itself. For an example, all ice moves are special attacks, meaning that Ice Punch, a move that implies contact, is special. I'll put a chart on screen showing what each type got classified at. Now with that information, imagine having an Ice type Starbeast with a great attack stat but a weak special stat, using an Ice move. It's quite the sad sight. Like I said before, the issue isn't really fault of the creator or any other developers, it's a quirk of the older gens that just need to be adjusted to. On a quick side note, I did some research and found that the earliest generation people mod the special physical split in is Gen 2. I'm guessing either Gen 1 games can't really handle it being modded in since the game has already been pushed to its limit through some hacks, that or not many people mod the game as much as the latter generations. It could also be that it embraced Generation 1 to its fullest. My next issue is with the added Dark and Steel type. Don't get me wrong, I like the inclusion of these two types. I just have had situations where attacks that normally would do neutral damage end up being not very effective. An example being a ground steel type hit with a grass move would result in it being not very effective when it should be neutral. I can only suspect that these two types are just acting weird within the game itself, and it could be another case of Gen 1 shenanigans going on messing with the modded in types. Even though the issues can be annoying at times, I'm not really bothered by it personally. The reason why these issues don't really bug me that much is that I have a soft spot for the older generations while still understanding their flaws. Plus, I just adjusted my game plan and found that the issues weren't really a problem anymore in the long run. Overall, I believe Starbeast is an entertaining hack. It provides a unique and challenging experience of the first generation of Pokemon games while still providing enough new content making it feel like a whole new experience, despite it still being in Kanto. As stated before, I love the Starbeast, the new areas, and all the new characters. If you're looking for something that feels like Pokemon but stands to be its own entity, I would recommend Starbeast. My personal rating would be a 4 out of 5. While it is a great hack and all, it still sits on the mechanics of Generation 1, and a pre-special physical split world can be a major turnoff for some people, and I get that. Also, the small little nitpicks I mentioned are there. Although, those issues could possibly be fixed in the future because the developers plan on making adjustments if need be. With that, I'll see you all next time.